33. He has like two playstyles. One is the more famous one where he kind of just plays these micro heroes. Everyone knows that. But he has a secondary playstyle as well, as where he likes to play these frontline tanky heroes. And he'll just like never buy Blink Dagger. He'll just like get like a Heart of Trosk at some point and keep scaling and be this unkillable hero. And I think that's what he's trying to do in this game as well, playing versus a Brood, just be that frontline wall. Bat will never be able to lasso him as well, and just absorb all the damage so his team can continuously just push forward. And he likes to say, like, I feel like he's pretty much top net worth most all the games he's played these heroes as well, and he just never lets go. So that gives Skeeter a lot of space to play not only what he wants, but how he can maneuver around in the team fights as well.
Yeah, that's just his style. He's 33 really shows, like, especially if you're an offlane player, like he shows the importance of just farming, like being efficient on the map.
I mean, do you think that sometimes like a lot of the offlaners, they try to play around their team way too much and they can't really have like a good balance between farming and
it's really hard to find a balance. I mean, it's not really hard, you just need a lot of practice with it. Like, even for myself, I've struggled with it a lot. Like, back then I wasn't scaling enough, so then I try to scale too much, and then I'm like scaling too much and I'm not doing things for the team. So like, you really need to understand your team and you have to like find a balance.
Tundra are finding a balance in their bans. They're not sure where this Broodmother might be going. They take out an offlaner, and they take out, well, carry, unless you're Amar. Amar will play offlane Monkey King.
Faceless Void.
But Gaimin go with a carry. Faceless Void.
I feel like the lane is not that easy, you know, for the Void against Tide. I feel like that lane, if I'm the Tide, I show my hero first and you pick a Void. I feel like I'm happy with that trade.
It's just in the game. For the lane, I think it's like 40-60, 30-70.
It's definitely setting up 33 to have one of those games where he's top net worth and hard to kill, for sure. Because one of the things about Tidehunter against the Timbersaws, Kraken Shell will remove the Whirling Death debuff, so you're deceptively tanky for a strength hero against the Timbersaw. You just will regain all that HP back, but you have to have a... You can't just get bursted right away, which is going to be really important to, if this Tide can get the net worth, to be able to stay on top of the net worth.
But this game, they only have like a Chrono for Tide, but they don't really have like much Chrono damage, so he's pretty invincible this game.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they go with the Faceless Void, because they can put, what, Chakram into it, and Fade Bolt? Otherwise he has to get Edge Chronos.
But these like situations, they're like really tricky, because both teams need carry, right? And there's 4 bans in total. So after the bans, there's actually not a lot of heroes left. So nothing you really pick really like looks good.
Well, the illusion carries still remain in the pool. There's still TB, PL, and Naga. Oh, actually, no,
Naga's banned.
But you don't really want to pick them against like Timbers or...
Yeah, whatever you pick will have some type of answer, and that's kind of what Gaimin's pretty good at doing every draft. It's called having a well-balanced draft. There's a little bit of everything there.
Ooh, new hero.
And that one is probably just as bad as picking any illusion hero into this.
Sven into
Batrider. The other hero I was thinking about was Slark. I think Slark can actually be alright. Like, people think the Slark vs Void matchup is bad, but with the shard on the Slark is actually like a pretty... It's kind of viable.
It's very annoying, you know. You can save your teammate, you force the Void to always try to chrono you, and you could always click your R button and react. But with the Sven, I feel like it's more about like how fast they can snowball as a Sven, and they're trying to maybe play around the chrono cooldown, because every time you get a kill, then Sven is going to be able to maybe take the map, take Roshan, take your towers. I think the idea is to try to outpace the Faceless Void here. But I'm not a very big fan of the hero at the moment.
The minimum, I suppose, it provides even more defensive capabilities against these Chrono team fights, because team fight from Gaimin seems incredibly complicated. Like, they basically have one team fight ultimate, and otherwise everyone else is just running around doing damage. They find some distance.
I mean, they have some initiation, at least for Tundra here. I mean, Gaimin's gonna have a weird game, I think. The Sven pick isn't like perfect by any means. They have their own issues to deal with this Faceless Void and how to make it work.
Oh, I want to see how it goes in game number 1 with Cap and SVG.
We are walking in a Western European wonderland. Avery, top 4 teams are all from Western Europe. Now we're about to decide who's going to be going to the grand finals between Gaimin Gladiators and Tundra. So it means we've got some teams that have a lot of history against each other.
Absolutely, they are very familiar with how the other one wants to play. However, are you familiar with how AUI wants to play?
That's true. That is a little wrinkle in the plan here. Gaimin Gladiators, this is going to be another time where they have a chance to go into the grand finals and one of their opponents has a stand-in. I don't know, just something funny about that.
Calling them out. Some
Oh, absolutely, because they won ESL.
is calling for an inquiry here. That's what it sounds like to me. Suspicious moves being made by
Spike in the
Gaimin.
water, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, they got me yesterday, so it's unsurprising. Quinn tried to take me out. Now he's on to his next victim here. But it's going to be a good old-fashioned Western European VPC Final Four. How do you like that? I mean, I guess that's what competing in Europe does for you. It pretty much guarantees you a top 4 to major. At least that's what it seems like here.
Yeah, you want to be the best, you have to play against the best. And right now, Western Europe is, no doubt about it, the absolute best region in the world when it comes to Dota. And Gaimin Gladiators and Tundra, obviously Gaimin Gladiators are coming into this favored, but for a similar reason as Tundra's last victim was favored. Got a stand-in. So surely Gaimin Gladiators, 2-time major winner, should be the favorite in this matchup. But there's something to be said about history, and Tundra have actually done pretty well against Gaimin Gladiators over time. In fact, even recently, beating them in the deep European DPC.
I think of all the teams in the world that I believe have a decent shot at taking down Gaimin this year, I feel like Tundra have always been in my top 2. I think the matchup is quite good for them. The issue is Tundra has just been super hit or miss all year. And I mean, in terms of 1, having their whole roster playing. Yeah. And number 2, kind of being at the top of the meta. Like sometimes they're trying their unconventional picks, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But when you combine that little hit or miss with, you know, them not having all their players, it's just been an unstable year.
Sure, and it doesn't take that much inconsistency to take you out of, you know, like first place in the Western European DPC. It doesn't take that much for you to get eliminated once you get out of the group stage and go into playoffs.
So if they can get it going, though, I think Tundra at their 100% have, in theory, a decent matchup versus Gaimin, because I think they're one of the few teams in the world that, number 1, can match them on the lanes. They are very nerdy on the lanes, do a lot of little things that skew the matchups, gimmick their way to an advantageous position, and then just snowball crazily off it, right? And I think that's step 1 to beating Gaimin. And I think step 2 is you're able to meet them in terms of the 5-on-5. Like, do you understand the aura meta? Do you understand the timings of these helmeted overlords, of these pipes, of these tanky frontliners that Ace can play, or the Zoo heroes that he can pump up his other 2 cores with? And can you meet that head on at the Roshan fights, at your towers, and push yourself towards a late game, which is generally where I think Gaimin is susceptible. I think Tundra have shown, if anything, from TI and the last TI, that they are the aura team in some ways.
Everybody else learned from them.
Yes, and or at least in terms of understanding and theory craft, I expect them to be capable of that. So in those 2 ways, I think Tundra is very capable of taking Gaimin down, maybe more capable than almost any other team in the world, if they can show up at 100%. That's what we're going to find out today. I mean, this is the first of what could be 2 meetings for these teams, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a lot about taking this victory and also about learning how this tournament meta is developing, what you want to propose here, because Morphling got ignored, and now teams are ending up with some diversity in the carry pool. Sven versus Void. Not a fun matchup generally for Sven, which to me says Skeeter wants to get out and have a pretty fast early game here, at least a free farm lane.
A lot of blood grenades being thrown around in this bottom lane. Darachi trying to go for the kill on 33, but of course, without the chance to bash, not going to work out level 1. A lot of creeps still alive, so things can get very awkward if you get this many creeps staying alive while you're battling like this. AUI barely able to get out from an attempted kill at top lane. And then our mid matchup, we've got the Quinn Timbersaw versus Snapfire, which is a matchup we've seen a number of times at this point, and is something that, yeah, Timbersaw can get close on Snapfire and kill her pretty quickly, but most of the lane and a lot of team fights, Snapfire does have an advantage.
There's also a lane just designed to not let Timber run sub-hero over. That's generally been how this mid Timber has won games for Gaimin. And it's something else you have to think about with Gaimin. You do not want to give Quinn a favorable matchup, especially one that can create a pressure area that's going to force your support to collapse on a mid and just get routed in the 3-on-2, 3-on-1. So Tundra, part of the Snapfire mid is it's a hero that they don't necessarily need to help. And at least they shouldn't over the long run, which is good because they need these supports on the side lanes. Sven and Tide are not heroes you want to leave alone early here, and they're going to do some little tricks to make sure they get advantage. Half pull top by AUI, little gush into tree grab action bottom to try and get some physical trades, and no snaking is getting run down. Should be okay here. This is a tough lane, the double melee lane into Faceless Void.
Yeah, and also against a Bat Rider. Feel like those two are naturally advantaged against melee heroes, but they're doing their best at comboing, as you said, the gush into physical damage, trying to get time walks out of the Faceless Void that put damage on him. And the result is actually an even CS so far between 33 and Terraccio, so doing all right.
And if they get the Lotus here, that's pretty big. Get this Lotus onto 33, then you're super happy with the next set of exchanges here. You're also running double stick on this lane versus the Bat Void. You're winning the regen trade a little. I don't know if Snake King's getting this one.
Yeah, Snake King, he's going to have to avalanche and hope he doesn't get bashed. He immediately gets bashed. All right, Terraccio takes it ahead of him, and now Snake King's going to be in some trouble here, especially if he gets body blocked in. Yep, just a little bit, and that's going to be enough for the Firefly to run him down. First blood goes to Celery.
Well, I mean, there's a little precursor of what his RNG is going to be this series. I guess you're not going to play for luck. Tell you that much. That was instantaneous.
Yeah, seriously.
Terraccio says, my friend, might be a TI winner. Not a TI RNG.
No, nobody beats RNG.
I'm telling you, it's the ultimate Dota weapon, man. You can't outskill just raw luck. Perhaps Gaimin, the luckiest team all year. You want to look at it that way. Definitely run the gambit here. If they get another grand finals appearance,
I
if they don't win, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that might be maybe the unluckiest thing. You just win all year. I mean, history said the teams that win all year do not win TI.
That's true. What are they doing?
Yeah. So
They start losing some games fast. They don't have a lot of time left here. They want to do well at TI.
yeah, they got 2 tournaments to go. This one and one more to quit.
A vicious gank.
Yeah, it is, and he had just enough. The blood grenade. I don't think that landed. Either way, I think he had enough regen.
Yeah, he has already Ring of Health plus 2 points in the armor. When just playing this lane, survive the early waves, make it up later. Still, it's a mid lane that's going pretty well for 9 in terms of resources, and one where
Hit him with the cookie.
Oh.
Is this long range shot big enough? Not quite. 20, 30, 40 HP. He's good.
that second point in armor really paid off here for Quinn. Now, Nine's gonna have to TP back to deal with the creep wave, which means all the resources from the Snapfire are gone. The Timber gets to go to base. Actually, a very good exchange for Quinn in the end. He's very happy with that overextension by 9.
Yeah, certainly. He might end up being like a little bit behind in experience, but the lane should no longer be a problem, right?
And if you're not worried about getting ganked here because you come back full, that level 6 for the Snap is not doing much, especially when he's out of resources here.
Yeah.
Self-sufficient lane for Tundra, though they're not getting the max value out of they want. Still, they are going even on lanes, and that's a decent sign for them. They can transition this into Ancient stacks, Triangle stacks, Tide, and the Sven. I think Tundra are going to be really happy with this. And if you're Gaimin, you're really wanting to snowball through Ace in the next 3 to 4 levels here. Get this Brood online, get her ult going, try not give away any kills to the Sven that would skew this lane, as Snake King right on Q is going to look for it, but he does not have toss here. Something to keep in mind.
Telekinesis stuns a lot of these heroes. Ace starts putting 1 damage where he can, but Tofu is definitely dead, and Ace won't be able to get a return kill. Not in a 2 versus 3 scenario.
Nice read by Snake. Knows this Tide Hunter is completely an unkillable bottom with early perseverance here and cracking up. Now he's going to try and get this dual roam going, get their supports XP, and contest 6-minute power rune. You have level advantage. If 9 can get it, it's a lot of resources. It gets denied though by Celery.
He gets it in front of 9's face and then bumps back into Quinn for the kill. I kind of wonder, with the core gone and the Siege Wagon pushing in, this is time to be able to push in against these 2 supports trying to hold the tower.
Just got your Timber Saw 6 off that too.
Yeah.
Just an overextension by 9, and it goes back to that play earlier where he tried to go for the Timber kill, used a huge amount of resources and teleport. That's why he's still low. That's why he has no mana.
Right.
He just died to this casual bat rotation. Crazy amount of XP for Celery for very little committal, and the dual roam from Tundra that was supposed to secure that 6-minute rune yields nothing for them.
Look at Celery. He's gonna lead them to the Wisdom Rune. Won't really be able to get it because Snaking has a stun and Celery doesn't. I mean, he has Flame Break, but I don't think that beats a long duration stun.
Should be guaranteed for Snaker.
Yeah. He times it right. Toss even just to ensure it, and yeah, he does get it.
That's the nice thing about playing stuns here, and we're seeing Tiny come back in the meta. You know, I was thinking about this. Has there ever been a major DI without Tiny in the meta?
Yeah, that hero is pretty much near constant.
This hero's just so fundamentally broken. Even when he's bad, he's still good. Like,
Yeah.
Toss and Avalanche are just two of the best spells in Dota. There's no way around it.
Pretty much since Tiny made a rotation to support. Some of the early Dota days, I think we're very stuck on Tiny being a mid laner. So sometimes he wouldn't get picked up. But once this hero became viable as a support as well as a mid, then it was flexible enough to be in every meta, it felt like.
Even those early days, I mean, I remember a little known team was Rattlesnake Gaming, where a certain Lanham earned himself a big dick nickname, and that was off the Tiny swinging the big club there. So even in some of these early TIs, he was making his presence felt, as Skeeter makes his presence felt with an early God Strength off level 6 Sven with a TP. They really do not want to give any room to the Quinn Timber pushing in this mid lane, taking the tower. That's been his MO with this hero the whole tournament. So Tundra have done their homework. They're committing to shut down the early momentum from Gaimin, sacrifice a little of the farm time off their carry to do it. Could pay off here. They can hold their towers up, and so far these towers are pretty damn healthy for Tundra. Something that has not been guaranteed versus the Timber and the Brood. In a lot of these matches.
Then again, that does snowball pretty quickly, right? If Broodmother does take this tower, then you can usually pressure the mid tower after that. So it could all happen very fast, but so far, you're right, Tundra is holding up strong.
And here's another smoke move designed to try and quell the Timber Saw momentum. However, Timber's already made the move top. 3 cores converging for Gaming onto that Sven with no ult.
Yeah, Tundra's going to be here just a bit too late for it, and their carry is going to die. Maybe they'll still fight around it, though. I mean, if they get the opening for the kisses.
Where you want to put the snapper to use. Tundra really need a big core kill here. Following up this game down.
Really nice chain stuff. Very nice.
Alive.
Not enough. Oh, and the Chronosphere at the final kiss. It burned it out, actually.
And this Chrono's not dealing any damage. It's just to turn into a pig and run away. Time dilation will get Dyrachyo out of there, but not what Gaming were looking for with this big triple core rotation. They will get the tower damage mid. Man, they are relentless on these objectives. It's so hard to stop them getting a tier 1 down somewhere. Is Skeeter gonna die again?
It looks like Quinn wants to commit. It's going to be a close call, but does get it with the last Whirling Death before the saves can come in.
And that's Tundra chasing this Timber with everybody, watching their carry die to him. It's so much damn space, and I think he's going to live too.
That feels so bad, especially since that last Timber Chain was his last. He's out of mana, but couldn't keep up with them. Couldn't keep chasing him down.
That's going to be some of the downside for Tundra in this early game. Their cores are pretty static and immobile. Right, there's no mobility hero. There's no hero that really likes to rotate early. The Snapfire can do it, but Snapfire's a mid also kind of wants to just farm up the first item. The Tide and the Sven are going to be pretty clunky in this game, so Tundra, they're trying to react to the Gaming early momentum. I don't know if their heroes are that well suited for it. The flip side is if they just bring everybody in these lanes, they can push it with the hammer, which 33 already took bottom tier 1, so they're finding trades. This Tide Hunter is going to be really farmed. In that sense, maybe Tundra's not too sad if they continue to trade the map.
What do you think about this swap of the Broodmother now occupying the bottom lane with the tier 1 tower gone and Dyrachyo staying up at top?
It's a very curious swap. I don't think I've seen Ace do this a lot.
Yeah.
Generally, Gaming will just keep going to the lane with the Brood in it to plow down that tier 1, or they will fight elsewhere and let the Brood take it on her own.
Now she comes back after pushing in that bottom lane, goes through the portal with the spiders and shows up to try and help Dyrachyo here. He's going to need the help with this and any heroes, but Quinn, he'll be able to even the odds here, opposing the mid laner and run down the 2 supports.
These are just not good engagements for Tundra to be in. They're getting sucked into disadvantageous core fights, and their Tide Hunter just can't get here. He's too damn clunky on the map.
Yeah.
9 goes down, bested by the Broodmother here, and another triple core conversion for Gaimin. This is why I was curious as to Ace going bottom, because I think this is what Gaimin want to do. If they feel like the Brood's hitting a brick wall, they just bring everybody up there. Say, well, screw you. Now you have to fight their Brood Mother. You can't do it. You're going to lose heroes on top of this tower eventually. And I guess Tundra refused to give it up as they bring the Tide in top. The game is really centered around these tier 1s.
Okay, so wherever the Tide goes, you just go somewhere else, right? Is that the game plan?
Yep. Back to mid for Gaimin. Yep. They bring Tundra top. They shift both cores towards mid. Get a glyph. Will Tundra try and defend this tower on top of everything else in this game? I don't think so. It's just gone. Get to deny.
Snap, the last hit, and now with
back to top
room, back to top lane.
This is really a mind game of an early game. You're trying to guess where these cores are going to go. The upside for Tundra is the Tide up here right now. So if you want to fight around 33, this is your chance to take that fight.
Quinn's going to make it a lot easier to kill this guy, though, thanks to the Whirling Death cutting him down significantly. There's no rotations. They're not going to use the Ravage. They are just going to finish him off. Stinky trying to go through the portal, but he got out of the Avalanche. So double kill and a great steal so far by Tofu. I mean, one of the ways he pushed back the Tidehunter from pushing in mid was that snap steal he had earlier. And now being able to grab Avalanche, he's got a lot of great options this game.
He's going to have a fantastic group of team here because he has 3 cores that can all go in for him. Plus a Bat Rider who is going to rush Blink and start the initiations.
Yeah.
These are the dream Rubik games where Tundra are never going to see this hero. He's going to have free reign in the fights. He has great spells to steal. The Ravage might even be something he gets this game because 33 likes to go these frontline builds. Tidehunter's just not tanky. And the Snapfire has no teleport for this fight. If Nine wants to join this, I can see a world where Tundra try and take that if they're more set up. But goddamn, Gaimin have just run them around the map and have been the first responders for a lot of these fights.
Absolutely relentless. They continue to go on that top lane. Now Quinn is going to be challenging 33 as well. Not killing him per se, but just keeping him in check as he goes for the mid tower.
Tundra are going to smoke their Sven into this gank. This is such a huge committal for Skeeter, especially at this point in the game when you have max cleave up. You'd rather be hitting ancient stacks right now, not trying to find heroes with no blink.
Yeah, and I think Quinn has a pretty decent idea of what's going on. Tofu and Ace are both rotating over to try and help out. 33, he wants to be in position to use Ravage, but they already decide this fight is just not it.
That's why Timbersaw is a first phase hero right here. It is causing Tundra a world of problems. He's getting every power rune, taking the tier 1s. Just seems unkillable. Only with 2 points in armor is the reason this hero has shot up.
Yeah, and I think it shuts down 33's pool quite a bit, right? Because they were talking about on the panel how he's either going to be playing these micro heroes or he's going to be playing these tanky frontliners. He's not going to go Tidehunter that goes fast Blink Dagger. He wants to be big and bad and sitting in front for as long as possible. And Timbersaw is the antithesis to that right there.
I mean, you can't sit in front of Rizrak here.
No.
The man don't care. He's too mentally unstable.
It's true. He sees something that big and green, it just pisses him off. He thinks it a tree.
That might be the case. Time to saw as Quinn takes top position here on the net worth chart. Tundra still looking for farm answers on the map. That's a Kiss's bottom.
Yeah, doesn't get the kill, and the Bat Rider actually completes the Blink Dagger thanks to staying alive.
One thing we should think about this game, though, is Gaimin have built a decent amount of momentum. However, another aspect of Tundra that I think is interesting in this matchup that we saw particularly yesterday is their ability to stall games.
Yep.
If you look at like the AUI Enchantress and Visage, I don't know if those are comparable to the Pugna here in terms of the lane cutting and being in tricky areas. He's going to do it on any hero, though, and you have 9 going for a Boots of Travel second. There is a stall mechanism here for Tundra. They're very good at it. I mean, look at Snaking on the top left of the map right now. He's dragging away towards a road. Sean Pit is a Tiny cutting this on the back door from Gaimin. Do you want to go gank this Tiny? No.
Last though to pull him out of position, he didn't use Firefly to make sure he put no damage on the Tidehunter, so he wouldn't Kraken Shell off the disable.
This is a slow kill. Tundra could earn this.
Yeah, they are going to provide some reinforcements, and 33 might finally have an opportunity to use that Ravage as the team is here now.
You have the damage.
Yeah, they're trying to throw all the stuns, take the Ravage for last, and now it finally gets let go to finish off Quinn.
Pugna Ward and Drain doing a lot there. Skeeter didn't even have to use ult. Bill, you got to watch out for the turn on this fight from Gaimin if they are not happy you took down your centerpiece and want revenge.
King turns around, does what things he can. The hammer comes through, does land onto the Brood Mother. Stormbolt as well with the drain. Half of that Doracho has to get out. 33, so close to just being able to throw out one last bit of damage. The Gush wasn't up in time though, so he'll turn around and get Tofu instead. A great save there by Tundra. Multiple heroes coming together at the perfect time.
Did he clean up some spiders? That fight gets dragged out. That is not the same type of skirmish we were looking at that top tier 1 where 33 goes down first. Tundra are ready to bring in the help. And you have to think about the overextensions here, especially with the Chronosphere for Doracho. There's a Sven Warcry in this game. There's a Decrepify. There might be some auras from the Tidehunter later. Even Avalanche can interrupt you. A lot of disrupting mechanisms for you to not be able to put the damage into that Chronosphere here, especially when your Timbersaw is dead. Quinn is... he is your fulcrum in this lineup. He is your front line, he's your damage, he's your early game. The second the Timbersaw dies, that's just a questionable fight because you have to respect the EHP coming out from these big boys on Tundra's side, especially with Pugnaward and Life Drain behind them.
And 33's got to respect the Timbersaw. He picks up a Blink Dagger now. So pretty early for him, typically.
Yeah, this is not his casual build, but he just feels it's going to need to be the initiating power here.
Gator slowed down, already at half health with just a lot of pokes here from Gaimin Gladiators. They still have potential saves here for the drain from AUI. Great avalanche coverage, though. And that hits the back line on top of the Sven, allowing them to chase down AUI as well. The Chakram pullback will finish them off.
You are spiders. You are absolutely getting turned into spiders here. The rundown is the scary part here for Tundra.
Yeah.
You don't have Ravage, you don't have your big God strength to turn and take that fight. The chase down is infinite. Between the Bat, the Void, the Brood, they're all chase heroes here, except maybe Tofu, and he doesn't need to chase because he's just getting great spells. Another level 4 Avalanche stolen. It's time to fight. I guarantee you Tofu's like, yo guys, I'm a god right now. Let's go on anything we can.
Yeah, that Aether Lens combined with the extra range from the Arcane Supremacy means that Avalanche is thrown out from miles away.
Still, Tundra's keeping even in this game relative cores-wise. Continuing to rat out the sides of the map. It's really hard to build network advantage against the team, and it shows. Trying to find a little pick-off here on Celery.
Yep, something to work with, something to keep more pressure on the bottom lane, start hitting that tier 2. They're going to lose Snaking over here. Skeeter shows up. Immediately storm bolted right back by Tofu.
There's a blink on 33. You gotta be careful here if you're gaming. I don't want to get caught by this Ravage into Kisses combo.
He said, though, the cores are keeping up. It's the difference in the support speed. You can see that with the utility. Tofu with a 4-staff able to get himself away from any attempt by 33. AUI quickly brought down.
And this is the point of the game that Gaming's lineup becomes terrifying because the auras are online for Brood. The Greaves is very close on top of that pipe, and it's going to buff up heroes that go in and start shredding you between the Timber and the Faceless Void. Where does the damage come from if you're on Tundra's side right now? It's just got to be over time, and it's got to be big God strengths from Skeeter willing to join the early skirmishes around the tier 1s if you can get them there. Blink Done for Tiny helps because now you can toss heroes in. One of the reasons I think we're seeing this Tiny come back is if you go back to TI-11 where Tundra took it all, Tiny was one of their key heroes. A displacement hero that forced enemies to fight their auras instead of the other way around. There's a reason it's brought back for this team. It could be pretty pivotal here if you can bring a hero out of the gaming ball, remove the pipe freeze advantage by just isolating the Timber, isolating the Faceless Void at the start of a fight. A lot of these team fights might just come on down to snaking, and can you find the opening? Can you bear the brunt of this game on your shoulders?
Hold on to your tape.
33 hammers mid.
Across, but finding nothing for it. Gaimin Gladiators all backed up to their triangle. Very curiously, well, what are they doing here?
I think they're feeling the smoke was coming down mid because 33 was pushing that tower so aggressively.
Oh,
This is like a classic maneuver, right? You push really aggressively solo like this, the enemies are generally going to feel, okay, the smoke is coming behind him. That's why he's playing up so far. It was actually a Jabate. Tundra went top, but they Jabated themselves because Gaimin are happy to just defensively farm right now.
Yeah.
So both these smokes are probably going to yield nothing. They might catch 9 bottom. This is just a hard smoke to land. The lanes are not very favorable for Gaimin right now because they hit on that high ground. That's the downside. Your next move becomes more difficult as Tundra have all the information in the world.
Octarine next for Quinn, while the Snapfire, the opposing mid, is going to go for BKB. Pretty necessary in this game, it feels like. Just needs more survivability. anything for them to just be able to push into a point where maybe I could see a world where 9 specifically is able to scale and give Tundra a better chance to turn this game around later.
They're trying to bait it out here. Tundra already hit this.
Yeah, they are back on together with the God Strength Skeeter laying into him, but the Chronosphere blinked into it. They do have the Mortimer's Kisses raining down. That's going to help out quite a bit, but 33 jumping into that one felt pretty bad, and he's got to be careful of Quinn now. Got to dodge this last Timber Chain Whirling Death attempted. Ravage goes out, but it's too late. The damage is done, the Watermelon falls.
That's the strength of Chrono this game. And that's why this Sven Void matchup just sucks, because even if you don't kill Skeeter in that hole, it just ruins his team fight, and then Tundra gonna have to try and bail the Sven out, and if you cannot turn properly, it's just a disaster. Also, time dilation. Really wrecking what Tundra want to do here between the Pugna and the Tiny. Like, Snaking blinks in, he gets a combo, and he's dilated for the rest of the fight. Right. You're not getting a second jump, which is something you kind of need here, because that toss, it sacked the heroes with a Stormbolt, but it did not displace a hero from this gaming ball. And they're happy to take that fight. Of course, if 33 does not blink into the Chrono there, it might look different, but still, the Void was BKB. He's not saving the Sven in that scenario. Yeah. That's just a tough fight for Tundra, and I think it's going to shift more weight onto these toss backs instead of the toss stacking that we saw there, because I really think you have to throw these heroes out of gaming reach to make them jump into you to set the fight up for the Tidehunter.
Right.
33 is just way too squishy if he blinks in aggressively. That'll be Octarine done for the Timbersaw. Aegis for Doraccio here. It's a good Aegis Faceless Void game. Because the time dilation is so effective, because the burst mechanisms on Tundra are not guaranteed, Doraccio can just go in these fights first, play aggressively, use Aegis without even popping BKB and be a menace.
Nice catch. Big kill if they can get it. The Force Staff makes things a little bit more annoying though, and Tofu gets away as a result. And now they have to just run for their lives. As all of Gaimin Gladiators look to punish, quickly sandwiching this area. They'll find AUI 2000. He's definitely dead, and still a chance for Snaking to get caught as well. Yeah, he's going to be finally lasso pulled back in. Doraccio will pound him to dust. Or I guess gravel.
Very difficult game for the Tundra supports. They've just not found a lot of momentum here as they're combining for a 1 in 11. And Tundra's happy to play Sacrificial on their 4 and 5 like this if the cores get that. They're used to this type of style because they, especially since they have some tanky frontliners, they have a Warcry, they have a little utility coming out from their cores, but it does hurt their playstyle when you can't get these 4-staff, Glimmers, Yules up that they really want to accelerate to here, so the dilation isn't as effective and you get multiple rounds of spells off. That is going to be a downside for Tundra going in these later fights, especially with the network Tofu and Celery have found. It's going to be a BKB Batrider, and I mean, whatever the hell you want Rubik here, they're just going to have free reign. So much frontline.
So much in this game.
What does he even go next? He already has Blink, Aether, Force.
Maybe an Aeon Disc just to make sure he doesn't die at the start of the fight.
Aeon's not bad. I wouldn't mind a Yules with the extra cast range. You can Yules the Tiny on the jump. Yules the target to disjoint the initiations.
Might be an Aghanim Scepter considering how many good spells he's stolen.
I think Axe is fine too.
So I guess they're... Can you turn off the Stormbolt, Axe? Can't, right?
I think so, yeah. It's like an auto cap now. Yeah, I mean on Sven you have the choice, so you should have it on Rubik. And Roger's just gonna force the high ground. 2.5 minutes left on this Aegis. You have tossbacks here, so you gotta be careful you don't get pushed in really deep into some chain stun. That's the nice thing for Tundra, as we also saw in that
Dire's middle tower
almost 2-hour game, the high ground defense.
Yeah.
High ground defense.
They're really good at doing that.
I mean, it's warmed up at this tournament for sure. That was a very particular set of circumstances to achieve that. However, I'm sure they have already theory crafted what this game is going to look like. And their cores are staying up there. This is not where you want to be with this Sven. You generally would like to be ahead. I think Skeeter's also had a rough game. Not a lot of ancient stacks for him to clear through. Not a huge gap for him to create over these other cores. It's going to be tough to find the burst later.
Yeah, so if you approach the high ground, you're getting AoE Gush spammed. You've got some other small nukes that could be thrown around from the Snapfire and the Pugna. There's a possibility of you getting tossed back, and soon there's going to be a Harpoon for extra relocation abilities for Tundra. So yeah, that does sound pretty annoying to push high ground into.
I think that's what Tundra's banking on right now. This ag's designed to help them stall the game, go even later, try and reach those Snapfire talents where their real late game damage is going to come online, and abuse Warcry in the late game situations. Just save the heroes and the Chrono between that and Decrep. You are going to need nullifiers at a certain point in this gaming lineup. They're not being built. You're going for Hex on Ace and just more damage on Dyrachyo. So those defensive spells are going to be good for Tundra for a while here. I just don't know if your scale's actually better. It's a damn good Faceless Void game. You don't really have a hard Chrono save. You know, you have soft ones, but nothing. No Wyvern, no Shadow Demon, no Naga Song. I can't help but feel like if this Faceless Void is 6-slotted, this game becomes very scary for you.
I definitely agree if you are on like an open field, you know, somewhere out on the map, but I could see a way Tundra, no matter how late the game goes, if they're sitting on their high ground, I think they could always win a fight.
I mean, you're back to the old argument of, well, we don't know how to win, but we know how to not lose. And yeah, now the onus is on you. You figure out how to win.
You know what? It's a good way in a war of mental attrition to start off a series, you know, just wearing them down.
Oh, you think that's what they went for? Like, all right, guys, we're not going to win game 1. We're going to make them so mad that their frustration will win us game 2 and 3.
And then even if we lose the series, when we come back in the grand finals, they're going to be like, oh, these guys again.
Seconds on the Aegis here. Where'd he go?
Chaining the stuns, the toss back into the Ravage, but they did not chain it properly. Something about that toss back and the Ravage hitting at the same time.
I think the Stormhammer Ravage overlapped. He also got tossed and hit by the Ravage, so he was stuck in the air for a while.
Yeah, and he didn't. They didn't position the Meteor Hammer correctly as a result of the Ravage stopping.
And they gave it away. Level 2 Ravage here for Token.
Oh, they did? Oh, no.
That is not the spell you want to be giving this Aether Lens Blink Rubik in this game. Especially with yours on cooldown, God Strength on cooldown. If I'm gaming, I might consider a high ground push here. You have DD on Dyrachyo as well. There's such a big window.
Big screw up there from Tundra.
That should be a guaranteed face of void kill. 100%. That is just miscommunication and lack of patience, maybe, as this game has been frustrating for them.
You know, if I'm Tofu, I'm thinking about buying a shard. Just because I have the Ravage, that would give me tendrils, wouldn't it? You see why? Imagine tendrils with that kind of range.
That's a well-worked obs there from Celery. Finds the tiny pick off. That's going to open the high ground even more. He's their toss back stall mechanism here. He's going to get some value.
Lot of value as they're hitting both mid and bottom lane, so that gush spamming is a little bit more annoying. But we did see earlier the 9 smoked out, or maybe Shadow Bladed out actually. Didn't notice that he had that.
Yeah,
but
look at this build, by the way. Manta Shadow Blade. Oh, this is like, don't worry guys, we're gonna win in 40 minutes. And I'm gonna push lanes and farm camps with Manta Snapfire Illusion. At least scout some areas so he can't get found. That's why there's an early gem on Quinn right now. He's trying to hunt him.
Sec AC, not the item. Guess it's a little too cold in the Gaimin Gladiators booth right now. It's a good problem to have, I guess.
Too cold or too hot?
Yeah, maybe things are heating up in this series. They're certainly looking pretty good. 21-7, 10,000 net worth lead. Looks like they're finally ready to go. They're going to be taking Tormentor. We're soon going to have Butterfly on Dyrachyo, and it's with level 20. If he gets to level 25, the damage shrug off is going to be incredible.
Void is getting up there. He's going to be a big problem. I still think this matchup is so Void favored in the late game versus Sven. There's not a good way for Skeeter to deal with Chrono. Especially when you're up against this time lock Mjolnir magic damage right click hero. That's why the Void matchup's so good. He just doesn't necessarily care about the Warcry. And then you get backtrack, you get evasion. It's so hard for the Sven to jump you and burst you unless he's super far out ahead.
They're so desperate to catch somebody from Tundra.
Look at the line's just instantly drawn from 33. Like, get the hell out, guys. I'm going to push the map, stall this game. Rat him up some more. Blood snaking.
He's got a glimmer, but there's a lot of AoE damage coming in from Quinn. And he also has a
That's Hex done for Ace as well. So the lockdown, the detection, the scalability, all coming online.
That's Celery was the one person who wasn't there for that top area. He's going to go for a lasso pullback, hoping his team will arrive in time, and they do. Because of his BKB, he stays alive, and now Ace, Quinn, they're going to try and chase down 9 first, while Skeeter's going to be kited during his God Strength. There goes that Ravage put to use. Chains all over the place. He cannot get anything off.
He had BKB, TP potential if the Void wasn't there. He was just not expecting the Ravage. Now he gives up level 4 Stormhammer. Not enough rat action for Tundra to stall this game. The start was too slow, and the auras are building up for Gaimin. It's prime time to force this high ground. Roche,
yeah, Quinn knew somebody's around here. Celery was doing it earlier. He doesn't manage to kill AUI, but he'll just stop him from split pushing another way.
And he has early bottom as well, so he can just join this fight.
Yeah.
He's just making sure there's nobody cutting back here. He can refill his mana. Very patient push by Gaimin. Don't have to commit the chrono here. Just hit the buildings. Well, he will commit the chrono. Good to got enough of AUI.
To get rid of the avalanche stun, and goes to work. Kills AUI 2000. Now he's going to kill 33. Oh no! Ravage actually goes on 33.
Yeah,
Able to get away from Quinn. He's going to show up with the Shivas. That'll clip him.
I mean, Ravage is irrelevant in this game if your stun is not hitting people.
No, certainly.
These have just been completely desynced for Tundra in this game 1. Not finding much momentum in this game. 7 kills in 30 minutes. And it looks like that's just kind of it. I don't know if they have the damage to punch through Shiva's Octarine level 20 Timbersaw with the extra magic resist talent. He is 14-1. I do not think this is a hero Tundra are going to give Gaimin next time.
Or at least maybe try and hard counter it a little bit better.
The answers were not convincing. They go for the Godstrike play with the quick chain stun.
Yeah, they do manage to get pretty nicely with the avalanche over the top. They kill Ace. Now a lasso pulling in 9. 9 still on the high ground, but Duraccio will make sure it works. They'll bump back onto Snake King to ensure Duraccio stays in melee range of that support. Now jumps on AEY 2000, while 33 going to be targeted by Quid. Skeeter doing what he can to challenge Duraccio, but against that butterfly, he really just cannot guarantee put damage in.
And the time dilations. Just destroying them on the backside of these fights. It counters so much of the reinitiation power that this Tundra lineup wants to have.
Falls back in with the tendrils with a follow-up stun. Duraccio finally falls.
That's a big kill to get. 2,000 gold for that streak.
Now Quinn might be caught as well. The harpoon pulling him back in. Slows him down with the chakra. Maybe Skeeter needs to be a little bit careful here. They're going to go for the kill. Quinn turns around, does what he can, but he falls before he can get the return kill.
That was another streak kill.
Yeah, that's another. So they just got 4,000 gold off of the kills.
That's a way to come back in this game, I guess. It does cost you a tiny buyback, and you lose 2 sets of racks here. I don't know if Gaimin are exactly sad about that entire exchange. A glimmer of hope.
But maybe they get Roche on as well.
I think you have to force it here if you're Tundra.
Yes.
You absolutely have to just run to the pit, scout it out. You have God Strength back up in 10. Use the Tide Hunter buyback there.
Scanning for enemies.
One of those situations Gaming Gladiators are going to look back on and say, okay, that was an example of us being a little bit overzealous. We could have just backed up and done Roshan after getting 2 lanes.
It's the type of thing that can throw a game. Yeah. Might not come back to fight him here, but definitely a little lack of discipline. They gave up 10 too, so these glimmers become better for Tundra. You can maybe get an extra keyword on the map. This is Aegis plus a cheese. Probably, we'll see who takes this. Honestly, I can see a world where you get 9 Aegis if Skeeter feels like his second life is not as valuable, but says no, I am the carry. Give it to me.
Yeah, maybe if 9 was a little bit higher level and a little bit closer to that physical damage build. But as it stands,
yeah, he still needs his level 20 here. Big deal for Tundra to try and unlock some more physical first to use their chain stuns effectively, because that's the way they're taking the fight. Tossing people back into a Stormhammer, into an Ava, into a Ravage, into a Tendril. Guard is up for 33 now. He's working towards Hex. If we go back to the strength of Tundra lineup, it is kind of the high ground defense. Tossing someone into a chain stun. The way you got around that if you're gaming was having tanky frontliners you didn't want to toss in, or an Aegis carry. Taking Aegis away, probably bigger that you didn't give it to gaming than what it does for you here on the side of Tundra. Because now you just got rid of 5 minutes where gaming probably would have gone high ground for that last Rax.
there was also the aspect of ratting like 2 lanes at once with Broodmother, but now it's just 1 lane to focus on. A lot easier for Tundra to set up.
Absolutely.
A lot of awkward situations here for Gaimin Gladiators, but, you know, gold solves all the woes, and maybe just raw network will allow them to be able to bulldoze through those buildings.
Tough call. If you try force this 5v5 on the bottom lane for the Megas and that fight goes bad, then Tundra are really back in it.
Yeah.
Whereas you can wait here, you can wait this Aegis out, buy yourself a little more time, get a next set of items off, make this Void, and Timber potentially get closer to the level 25 talents. I don't know if they're going to get there without a one team fight.
Maybe they just wait for a pickoff like this one.
Yeah, this helps. DUI will get caught and evaporates.
They stole Life Drain. That's great.
Level 2.
Regeneration.
Decent spell here.
Drop the sentry. Doesn't spot Skeeter in time. He is too damn fast.
Alright, Skeeter has Silver Edge. Here's another initiation mechanism, also something that can break some of the passives here. Reactive armor, maybe you break the time lock if you get chronoed in return. I guess you're not, in theory, taking as much damage potentially, but it's more just him being on the front line, so when you go in and you toss or you ravage, the hits instantly start coming.
Yeah, you gotta kill something, you gotta kill it really fast in this situation.
It has to be a blink of an eye, and you make a hero disappear. You get these lanes in.
You know what's funny? Some of that's just going to come back to RNG because, again, the butterfly on Terraccio, but also closing in on 25. So you're going to have lots of chances to dodge damage.
All the level 25 talents for Gaimin insane. They have to be some of the best in the game. The 20% backtrack for Void, absolutely massive. The level 25 BAT talent for Brood can also be a huge one.
Yeah.
Not with utility Brood, but it is a crazy talent, right? And the double chakra for Timbersaw. I mean, you really can't ask for some better late game talents here on Gaimin side.
Yeah, that's true.
Continue to scale in the experience department.
9 does get his level 20. And complete Silver Edge as well. Yeah, so he's got the crit combined with the heavy shots of the little shredder.
It's a lot more damage. Can't underestimate it. Tight Sliver to buff it up even more here on the Universal Hero base damage. Not as easy to just take the head-on fight. Gaimin, particularly if the bat does not find the initiation and the Tiny does. That's the big question. Celery has BKB. In theory, it's an uncountered BKB here. His jump should be pretty reliable, and I think it's how Gaimin want to start all these fights. Displace a hero out of Tundra's ball and make them go into the Chrono and the Timber waiting.
Look at this blind read that Gaimin Gladiators doing wrong with that. Meanwhile, Tundra are going to be able to jump onto Terraccio and burst him down. Look at Snaking repositioning to ensure the toss. Great stuff there from Tundra. And it was at the same time that Quinn and Celery were certain somebody from Tundra was going to be ratting the other side of the map.
That's just a great read. Great observer wards as well to scout this. And Tundra find a huge opening here. 80 seconds, no Void. He has no buyback either. He might just walk down and get a lane here if they're really confident. Aegis running out in 45. They still stack those stuns very heavily though, which is a bit concerning when you're going for these single target chains. There was so overwhelming it didn't matter. This is something you're gonna have to think about if a save comes through, if some random disjoint, someone gets lassoed. That stun overlapping might come back to bite you. Tundra gonna look for more. 50 seconds, no Void. Ooh, Celery, you dodged fate there, my friend. Peter will get the Timbersaw TP.
Now they start heading back. The Aegis is going to expire though. Gaimin Gladiators with Terraccio coming back up in 30 seconds. That does come to question again. Like now the Aegis is gone on Tundra. Are you gonna try and push high ground or are you just gonna wait for Roshan? I have a feeling it's probably just gonna be Rosh.
Tundra keep cutting this lead slowly but surely. This is one of those teams that will not go away. You have to beat them. Yeah, they're gonna make you beat them. As another move gets dodged here, the game continuing to get stalled. That net worth lead, once up to 22k, is down to 14-13 here.
Oh, nice. Mindbreaker for 9. Little shredder damage really amping up now.
And you know what Gaimin are thinking about these combos right now, because they are really trying to itemize to deal with them. You have double aesthetic cap. Timber and the Brood here.
Okay.
Not an item that you see a lot of times because it's a very defensive item. Like if you're snowballing, you're winning, you'd rather go for more damage or aggressive potential.
That is so unfortunate. No MKB for Skeeter. That'd be really awkward if he doesn't have his MKB during this Roshan respawn time.
This might come back to fight him in minutes on the death.
See if it's a fast Rosh. He
Quinn.
doesn't have it.
He got blink off.
The Cap helping out a little bit here. The team force out trying to help him. Ravage going to cover some of this, but Terraccio's going to be able to get the 5-man here. And he starts to land damage into 9. Skater's going to be next. Lasted up almost immediately. It's Spear fails, and that's going to be 3 dead. AY in 33. Neither one, I think, is going to get out alive. As Gaimin Gladiators just going to go for gusto here. Run down as many heroes as possible, even through the buybacks are coming out, because one buyback will never come. That's going to be Skeeter. The Sven won't be here for this fight. Tundra going to have to push through it anyway. Snaky covering himself with the avalanche, toss back all the way, almost into the fountain. Garaccio daring it. Rod of Toes needs to be able to start backing up now. Kiz is going to be return fire on Tofu, pushing Tundra into their fountain. Left with only 3 heroes alive. They have to form a defense for the next minute.
And that blink from Quinn was so damn clutch. It made them chase so much farther. You have to expend your blink and your harpoon just to get a couple Sven hits in, which just sets up the game-ending chrono potentially from Garaccio. And those level 25 talents are now online. Double chakra, backtrack for the faceless void. Spikes just came even harder.
Another lasso. Tendril trying to chain it, but they're just going for a Bat Rider. Meanwhile, they're losing more and more heroes with no buyback. Diebacks all around for Tundra, and Gaimin Gladiators will finally close out game number 1.
I mean, that was getting a little spooky there. Tundra's ability to drag these games back is astounding. And that is just too much of a hill to climb, especially versus the best team in the world right now. And Gaimin still had a lot of scale left in the tank with these talents. With another Roshan coming up that you know they were going to be in position to contest with that Chronosphere. That's just a hard game if your lanes don't go a little bit better for Tundra. And I go back to those tier 1 maneuvers. I just feel like they're getting outmoved on the map. Like, Gaimin are the ones making the
you